Richard and Jane vacation at Richard's desert house where he's secretly hiding his affair from his wife. Jane discovers two men, Stan and Dmitri, watching her from outside. Richard introduces them as friends, arriving a day early for a planned hunting trip. Stan and Richard's earlier-than-expected arrival allows them to spend the day and evening together. They all drink, becoming intoxicated. Dmitri uses binoculars to observe Jane, and he questions Richard about a black bag on the table. Richard warned Jane and others about a potent plant called beauty plant, causing numbness and hallucinations, stressing its dangerous nature and the potential consequences of its use, especially given the presence of weapons in the house. Jane subsequently concealed the plant in her necklace. Jane wakes to find Richard gone. Stan explains he's submitted their passports for a hunting trip, and Dmitri is still asleep. Stan's unsettling behavior makes Jane uncomfortable, leading her to avoid him while packing. She rejects his advances, stating her love for Richard and incompatibility with Stan. He becomes aggressive and tries to rape her until Dmitri enters the room and rescues Jane. However, Dmitri leaves and closes the door behind him, allowing Richard to continue what he was doing. Richard returned with hunting permits, discovering Jane upset and wanting to leave. He confronted Stan and Dmitri about their actions, which caused Jane's distress. Richard offered Jane a job and money in Canada to keep quiet, promising to make them apologize. However, Jane rejected his offer, threatening to expose his infidelity to his wife. Richard turns on her, hits her, and calls her a whore, saying he brought her just for fun. Jane tries to escape the house but ends up running into the desert, with all of them chasing her to ensure she doesn't talk about what happened. Jane reaches a high cliff, surrounded by them. Richard pretends to talk on the phone, calling the plane to take her away to the desired location. As he gets closer, he pushes her off the cliff, and she falls onto a tree with a branch piercing her side. Richard tells them that this is the end of her, as she could have sent them all to prison on rape charges and ruined his marriage if she had told his wife about his infidelity. They return to the house, burn all of Jane's belongings, and prepare for their hunting trip, believing Jane is dead and they are done with her. However, time passes and Jane wakes up on the tree branch that saved her from death. She tries to reach her lighter to set the branch beneath her on fire, weakening the tree and allowing her to fall. She manages to climb down from the tree, but the branch remains stuck in her body. She hears car noises approaching and is sure it's Richard and his friends. She tries to hide under the cliff, away from their sight. They look down from the cliff and say she has disappeared. Stan suggests that it might not be too late to find her, treat her, and maybe she will forgive them. But Richard hits him, saying he won't risk his life for someone like her and that they will find and kill her, hiding her body. They start moving toward her location, reaching the bottom of the cliff at night. They try to find her and notice a trail of blood following the path she took. They follow it until they reach a large lake. They split up, with Stan staying in the car in case Jane appears nearby. Each of them goes in a different direction to search for Jane. Dmitri passes by the spot where Jane is hiding, but doesn't notice her because she is holding her breath underwater. Once he moves away, she emerges from the lake and tries to continue her escape. She finds Dmitri standing nearby, with his weapon far from him. She sneaks up to take his weapon and manages to grab it, threatening him not to move. She tries to shoot him, but the safety is on, preventing the gun from firing. Dmitri grabs the gun and shoots her, informing the others that he has found her and will take care of her, meeting them at the car. He takes her and throws her into the lake, trying to drown her. However, Jane manages to grab a knife he has and stabs him in the eye, killing him in the lake. She takes Dmitri's bag, his rifle, and the beach buggy, trying to get as far away as possible until the gas runs out. She then walks until she reaches a cave where she spends the night. She lights a fire in the cave and starts examining the contents of the bag to treat herself. She tries to remove the branch from her side, which didn't kill her because it missed any vital organs. She remembers she has the beauty plant, which causes hallucinations and body numbness, and eats it to numb her body and attempt to remove the branch. The plant starts taking effect, and she heats a knife to remove the branch from her side. She cauterizes the wound using a beer can she found in the bag, heating it over the fire. She falls asleep from exhaustion. Morning comes, and Stan, who had fallen asleep in the car, is woken up by Richard, who tells him to enjoy hunting animals on the way, which is why he was late. They ask about Dimitri's whereabouts, as he hasn't appeared yet. Stan goes to wash his face in the lake and finds Dimitri's dead body in front of him. He runs back to the car in terror and tells Richard. Richard quickly changes into heavy clothes to throw Dimitri's body into the lake and make it disappear. He asks Stan to help him and hits him, breaking his nose, blaming him for everything that happened. They say they must find Jane and kill her. Meanwhile, Jane continues to experience nightmares and hallucinations due to the plant she ate. She wakes up and finds that the design from the beer can has imprinted on her body. She takes all the weapons that were with Dimitri and leaves the cave, seeking revenge on them just as they are searching for her. They find Dimitri's beach buggy and realize she is moving again on her own. They split up to search for her, suspecting she might be hiding in the mountains. Jane uses the binoculars to locate Stan in his car, which is coming toward her through the sand between the rocks. She notices his car has stopped suddenly because it ran out of gas. Stan steps out to refill the gas, and Jane takes the opportunity to aim the rifle at him, using it for the first time. She shoots him, but due to the rifle's strong recoil, the bullet hits his shoulder and bounces off quickly, approaching the car. Jane starts chasing Stan around the car until she sees the blood trail on the ground from the bullet wound in his shoulder. She continues to chase him until Stan wraps his drink around the wound to temporarily stop the bleeding. He manages to hide from her in the mountains and tries to aim at her, but due to his shoulder injury, he can't shoot accurately. Jane dodges the bullet and manages to get up and escape from Stan, who fails to shoot her. Jane takes out the flashlight she has and breaks the glass in its path, causing Stan to step on it and fall to the ground. He tries to remove the glass from his leg and returns to his car, driving toward Jane to run her over. She waits for him in the middle of the road and tries to shoot him while he is in the car. She shoots him in the head, and the car crashes into the mountain. She goes to the car and throws Stan's body out, taking the car and driving away. Richard tries to call Stan, but there is no answer. He waits at Dimitri's beach buggy and searches his house again. He arrives home and calls the pilot to come pick him up. He takes a shower and hears a noise in the living room. He goes to check where the noise is coming from and searches the apartment until he finds Jane standing in front of him. He tries to run away from her, but she stabs him in the side. He tries to fight back but ends up running away from her in the house. Jane chases him until he hides behind a wall, waiting for her to pass so he can kill her. She turns and comes at him from the other side, catching him in the kitchen as he tries to wrap something around his body to stop the bleeding. Jane continues to chase him until he falls to the ground. Richard attacks her, but she manages to point the rifle at him and kills him. She leaves the house waiting for the plane to take her home after she has taken her revenge. The end. Subscribe to support us. Thank you for watching.